The first semifinal is going to be on it's semifinal, right? Yes, the first semifinal is going to be starting on Hecate. Doesn't sound elegant enough to be a Greek goddess, but fine. In the bottom left, it is MaxPax. In the top right, it is Wayne. This is our beautiful map. It's beautiful. It's got half gold, half mineral base. That's the most interesting thing about it, I suppose. But it is a beautiful map. Very large as well. It's wide. I don't know about the rush distance. Fortunately, someone had a handy-dandy graphic that I could just look up real quick, like. Have that bookmarked, probably. Infographic on the new 9 ladder maps. All right, rush distance. 33.2 seconds. Now, I am a little confused in this infographic. It kind of looks like they're saying main to natural is 32 seconds. 33.2 seconds, sorry. Which is actually not what rush distance is. Rush distance is main to main. Top of the main ramp to the top of the main ramp. But anyway, I mean, you could argue that that's not the most helpful rush distance anyway. If you were to think of the most common usage of rush distance as something like how fast is an early game cheese, aka a 12 pool, get across the map, then main base, hatch, larva to natural, nexus, command center, hatchery, whatever, would be more important. But anyway, I'll figure that out later. Point is, we're watching two great European players playing the North American Open Cup. We fortunately did get the patch on Europe and Korea. So they are able to do this. Force them to play on North America. If that weren't the case, it would have been a little silly. But, you know, it is what it is. But no, we can actually play here between the Europeans. Now, it is still a late night for them. They will be playing at, what would it be, 3 in the morning? Ouch, 3 in the morning. So they're probably not playing their absolute best. But some of these guys are very used to playing a North American Open Cup as well as Europe. I'm not sure if Wayne is, but I'm pretty sure Clem and MaxPax do pretty frequently. So they don't seem to mind it. We do have a couple of changes for the new patch when it comes to this matchup. Baneling, most importantly. Baneling no longer 2 shots. Those poor little probies, they get to survive. Which I think is a good change. I don't know about also changing the Baneling health or making transport overlords faster to give more harassment options to the Zerg. But whatever, man. I'm not on the Balance Council. Wayne is a typically very aggressive Zerg. He showed that in his ZVZ. But ZVZ. I mean, what is that even? Now, ZvP, it's the same deal. ZVT as well, really. He likes to go for the basically all-ins in the mid-game. I have seen him go for macro games. I have seen his Broodlord play, and it's there. But it's probably not his best feature. MaxPax doesn't have the world's best PvZ win record, but I do think that there's actually a reason for that, and this is going to sound like real European bias. There's some European cope here, but I think it's true. I think it's because MaxPax, when he does face Zerg, it's often the best Zerg in the world, so Serral and Raynor, and then occasionally Dark, maybe. Whereas I feel like the likes of Hero is another great Protoss player. I mean, he plays Solar, which, you know, is also fantastic, and he plays Dark a lot. That's actually a comical amount how much they play. But then I feel like the rest of the Zergs in Europe aren't even really there. Like Ragnarok didn't make the GSL. But anyway, it's really beside the point. MaxPax has great PvZ. Most people look to him for his PvP. I guess a little bit of PvT, because he's the one that kind of leads the charge almost on that one. But PvZ can sometimes be undervalued for him. No, he's still fantastic at it. And so Wayne is going to be in a lot of trouble. And these guys also are very wary of each other's play styles. There's not going to be too many surprises coming through here unless one of these guys were to take advantage of the patch, which I just don't think is the case. The patch didn't change enough amongst these races to actually encourage something to be different. Whereas, of course, the Terran could experiment with the Cyclone should they want to, which they don't really want to. the Zerg, what, they can have like a faster Hydra timing? Is that really worth it? Probably not. Faster Ultralisk, you know, because they get like half a Zergling, like, probably not. And then Protoss, well, I suppose. No, yeah, they didn't get very much either. Adepts in the third base, though, much more important. It's a fair number of Adepts, and they are in that little nook right there. The Lings will get the best surround they possibly can, but it will be at the end of the day at least an effective trade. 7 drones go down with the help of the Oracles. 3 Adepts live, and so far that means that it is an okay trade. They probably should die, though. Apparently they're out of range of that Overlord. They should definitely be dead, but they're definitely not at home, which is the most important thing here. Stalkers get warped in, mostly as a body block. They're really not going to take on Lings by their lonesome, and these 3 Adepts are coming back home injured, bruised from earlier. 9 more drones just went down. Really? Not probes? Finally, some probes starting to go down. There we go. There's the big kills. Oh, yeah, the Oracles came back home, were recalled probably, but they are too late, and, well, Wayne has made up for the damage he took. Add in, of course, Zerg players taking damage to themselves from making Lings, and he really did have to do some damage, but he absolutely did. Very effective. Now up 10 workers, about to be up 8 more than that, as he gets a round of drones in during the aggression, and, well, MaxPax should know that he kind of screwed up there. That was not overall good for him. Well, Hydras are on the way. I guess it would be Hydras being the mainstay mid-game unit more than Roach, Ravager, Ling, Baneling, if there's any consequence of the new patch for this matchup. So, okay, that makes sense to me, sure. I just don't think it's nearly as appealing as experimenting, you know, fun-wise, as like the new Mothership or the new Cyclone. Like, those are the big draws, right? People are going to try it and then realize they suck and then not make them. Fine. But as far as the kind of like the little bits of like, well, here, but push that and like take that back and push that. Yeah, Ling Bane, Ling Hydra might be the new go-to for mid-game PvZ. Or even just Ling Hydra, I suppose. We'll see how it works out. MaxPax has gone for typical opener himself. 3 base into the Adept attack, triple Oracle into Blink Stalkers. Now moving on to Colossus, which are going to be very, very helpful indeed against someone making pure Ling Hydra. Actually, I'm kind of concerned for Wayne here, as he has to traverse across a very large map. I suppose from this creep point to this third base, it's not that big. That looks pretty quick to me, but there's rocks. Oh, okay. Well, he's got to break on the rocks. Then it's probably pretty short, and I guess that's not that bad, but, well, now it's just about the timing is the problem then. Can Wayne get on the other side of the map before those Colossus get out? Is the big question. Currently, he's having difficulty tackling the Stalkers. 6 Stalkers have gone down, but so have 7 Hydras. Transport Overlord is also figured out pretty quickly. Not sure where it showed itself, but it died. The Auntie ship. That's what we're going to call it now. 1 Oracle goes down, and the Stalkers are dangerously close to being surrounded. Not really all that many Lings, though. Plus, the stasis traps were there to help out. Nicely done to have a backup stasis trap, because Wayne was absolutely trying to get that surround with those Lings. 4th base on the way for MaxPax as he starts up his 2 Colossus. In fact, is almost done completing them. They have to produce and get on the front lines, but I think they'll be here in time, because the Stalkers are already doing quite a bit of work themselves. High ground concave to their advantage. +2. Halfway done for the Protoss. Seems like +1 Stalkers were enough. Colossus are now out, and Wayne is in a bit of trouble here. He stayed on a pretty low drone count as far as heading into the later mid-game or even late game. You know, the not mid-game, the later mid-game. But seriously, if he's gonna have to deal with Colossus, he's gonna have to have different units than Ling Hydra. Even having mass Banelings would be a little more appealing. There's always a chance you get the full surround, you pop, but maybe a little shy about going for Banelings in such a scenario, as the health did change. So everyone's talking about the power of TVZ with that change, but you know, I think it was also directed towards this matchup. The appeal of just massing and massing and massing and massing over and over again on Banelings, you know, has been discussed in the past as not being the best thing ever in StarCraft 2. I think it kind of settled and it was mostly still pretty entertaining, but regardless. So, Ling Hydra against 3 or 4 Colossus? No. You need Vipers. And if you're going to get to Vipers, we're heading into late game, you need more drones. So that's what he did. He made more drones, but it's really not the perfect setup for him. He's going to have to do this while actually still getting to Hive, much less Vipers, while MaxPax is prepared to move across the map. MaxPax, despite the blip of probe losses on his third, really has had a clean game here. Wayne felt like he wanted to go for a bigger, badder Ling Hydra bust and was nipped in the bud. He was stopped before it started because the Blink Stalker micro and Oracle aggression was too much for his basic units to handle. Lurkers are stopgap. They can buy time, but 4 Lurkers is hardly many. They got an Observer as well as still an Oracle for Revelation. Oh, MaxPax's gonna play this very, very carefully. Oh, I think he saw... Well, that's why. He saw the Stasis, saw the Hydras going for the counterattack. That's why he recalled. He recalls to his 4th base, so he doesn't get caught by surprise on his 3rd. His units weren't caught by surprise, and that will be it. MaxPax with a very clean 1-0 start. It's the great thing about MaxPax is that you can imagine him however you want. Not in a weird way. But if you want to imagine him with a curly mustache and a top hat, by all means. In the bottom right, maybe with a curly mustache and a top hat, it is MaxPax. In the top left of Oceanborn, it is Wayne. We're in the ocean. Is there a giant shark? I believe there's a giant octopus of some sort. Aha. It's not really an octopus. It's a quadrupus. Or a centipus. It's 5, I guess. I don't know. Missed my gigantic shark. That sometimes messed, like, the camera angle would mess up on, not the Cloud Shark. Not Cloud Kingdom Shark. There was another map that had a bigger shark. That sometimes the camera angle combined, like, I think what happened was that the shark would go over one of these doodads, and the camera would be zoomed in doing a fight or something, and then you'd pan over, and then the shark would just be, like, 80% of your screen. You'd be like, ah! Oh, it's just a shark. Okay, good. I don't remember what map it was, though. We've had a lot. I've forgotten more maps than I remember. I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't fully remember last season's maps. I do believe that Wayne was experimenting with the new patch a little bit. Didn't really feel totally connected. Synergized. Perhaps underestimating the power of the Blink opener from MaxPax in regards to the buildup of Ling Hydra. Ling Hydra was a thing many moons ago at this point, I suppose. I just had a bigger place in the matchup. And then Roach Ravager, Ling Baneling. However you got there, Roach first, Ling first, upgrades, whatever. That really took over the matchup. But Ling Hydra and some Ling Hydra timings certainly did exist. Even after they decoupled the upgrades on the Hydra, people still tried them. But the coupling of the upgrades was really what made it so powerful. So they didn't go that way in this patch, even though initially they were thinking about it. They still did buff the Hydra. But we are also in a slightly different position for Protoss, I suppose. Blink starter builds aren't completely new in the last 2 years. Like, Hero didn't necessarily invent the opener, but the way that he played it was certainly different, and it really improved on the past iterations of a Blink opener from Protoss in this matchup. But anyway, you kind of combine the two together, and I feel like either it doesn't work for the Zerg, as we saw on the last map, or Wayne just kind of has to figure things out. Or some other Zerg has to figure things out. It definitely didn't work. MaxPax's ability to control the scenario, take down very vulnerable units straight out efficiently and all that was just too good. Now Wayne is trying to tear down these Adepts. Gonna be able to get one, but not both. Just droning up as MaxPax gets into his ideal position. Stargate opener into 3 Nexus, probably with Twilight Council. Look like the Mind Flayer pods. Well, they're, I mean... I always love when, because I do the same thing, just to be clear, because I'm not totally educated and, you know, that well read anymore. I used to be. But whenever someone refers to anything, what's the word? Cthulhu, Lovecraftian, I guess, as whatever next thing used Lovecraft, you know what I mean? Like, people won't be like, oh, that looks like, you know, Cthulhu. It's like, well, that looks like Baldur's Gate. Or that looks like that one dungeon in WoW. Or whatever Cthulhu has propagated. But yes, it looks Lovecraftian. 2 oracles still gonna survive despite all these queens. Yeah, plenty of space back there. Whew, that went on for a while. There's so much space for oracles back there. So I Council and Forge were indeed the follow-up, and is it going to be Blink? It was so effective in the last game. I feel like we're going to see it again. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, there it is. I haven't seen the new mothership in action. I doubt you will. I don't know what its purpose really is, and there was no such communication from anyone. When we asked why, they answered... That's my main frustration with them. Wayne going back to what he probably knows best. Faster +1 melee into the roaches. Ling, Baneling, Roach, Ravager going to be on the way. MaxPax did do wonders with the Blink opener in last game against the Ling Hydra. Should be able to do something with it against this particular style. It's not like it only works against one thing. It's the reason we've seen it so much more often. But MaxPax does have to be a little wary. Part of all that Oracle shenanigans is one finally did die. Was also to get some scouting done. And what it scouted was a single evolution chamber, no Roach Warren. I mean, I guess it could still have been a Hydralist then, but there was no particularly fast lair. Nah, so I'm pretty sure he's going to figure that's +1 melee. All the gases were taken under his eyes. Yeah, he should know that was for +1 melee, I would think. And so the way he'll handle this is, well, pretty much the same as last game, because really the danger to the Stalkers is being surrounded, so really it's still about the Lings. So the onus is on the Lings in this game as well as last game. Blink 5 seconds away from finishing, and he is not liking the scenario he was put in. He's going to skedaddle with recall. Yeah, probably the best. He would have lost 2 Stalkers and then blinked back, and then there wasn't really enough Stalkers to take on the Lings that were left over, plus any reinforcements that could have been on the way. So that wasn't nearly as controlling as he would have liked, and that wasn't because +1 melee was on the way. That was just a more successful surround. And now Wayne in a much better position to play out his EVP. 70 drones, Ling, Baneling, Roach, Ravager. Baneling has been nerfed, keep that in mind. No longer getting a health boost from centrifugal hooks, but at least Baneling's speed is faster and cheaper to upgrade. Roach Ravager wasn't touched. Blink wasn't touched. The upgrades were, but only the shield and armor for air, which is not something to be getting. Right? I'm not crazy? That was only 2, right? Yes? Huh? Quay? Immortal's not going to be made in this matchup too often, although you know, sometimes. And then... do we have a sentry? Nah, I'm waiting to have that sentry. I'm waiting to call out the 2-second upgrade on the Guardian shield. Damn. Oh, armor upgrades for Zerg were cheapened. I mean, I think that's kind of worth noting, but it's not something we're going to see anytime soon. 4th base is already set up, man. It's already got a cannon and a shield battery, saturated as well. More static defense is on the way. Wayne isn't really even all types of maxed out here, coming in without many Ravagers, weaker Banelings too, and in a fairly prepared Protoss, but maybe not prepared enough. Ling sliding in with her +1 melee shortly before the Colossus were actually out. Might have been the perfect timing here, as those probes probably going to be goners, inevitably. And now it's a matter of MaxPax holding on 3 bases. Wayne roly-polying on in here. Soccer to try and block these poor probes from dying, but that's not one veiling, that was many. 30 probes go down, no matter how much MaxPax tries to hold on. Now, weirdly enough, he could still save his 4th Nexus, but his 3rd Nexus looks like a goner to me. More probes being rallied in, too, and that is going to be dead and saved. Yes, indeed. He saved the 4th, lost the 3rd. Always a weird situation there. But that was a very successful attack from Wayne. MaxPax thought he could hold it. He had some stack defense, he had his Stalkers, he had Blink, his Colossus were so soon to be out. If this was a ledge they could walk, that would have been perfect. But instead, Wayne chose the right timing to attack into, even again without many Ravagers. That was the perfect time to strike. And on a healthier economy than last game, or at least he was, it looks like because he built stuff, he lost a couple of drones. So he's going to eventually be able to build up to a higher drone count, 5th base, and Hive, because he has given himself quite the advantage. He now is in control of this matchup. If MaxPax brings it back, it will be a comeback. It will be because MaxPax is still pretty freaking good. He certainly has a lot of comebacks under his belt when it comes to PvT. I feel like less so PvZ. PvP, PvT, he's made tons of comebacks. But PvZ, less, I guess, of a comeback matchup, maybe. But yeah, but he could still do it. He's still pretty freaking good. And Wayne could get overly aggressive. He'll probably look to see if there's another engagement shortly, but then really be waiting for Vipers. That's probably the best play here. And MaxPax kind of knows that against non-Viper armies, he's pretty good, even if his army supply isn't the best. Although losing a Colossus would be a terrible way to start things off. Good lord. Okay, the Colossus will fall. It helped, though. It helped a tremendous amount. But as I was saying, MaxPax probably knows that he's good defensively right now. But that Vipers are going to be his real problem. So he is moving on to a High Templar. Or 2. As many as he can afford. Just for feedbacks. Storm would be a big help, of course. Archons, totally fine too, but he's going to need feedbacks as soon as he realizes that the timing is here. The Vipers are here. The Oracle's alive. One of them could go to scout, the other one left home. But both of them actually going to go ahead and scout. They need to kind of come back home and help out. Colossus on the 3rd base, going to be caught off guard. Well, kind of has some protection. This is mostly an anti-Ling run-by squad, though, not a whole standing army by itself. Will be good enough. Enough time for MaxPax to respond. There's that stasis trap, and like I said, one Oracle could go and check things out to see the timing. And I would still say Vipers are the scariest part of this, but Wayne, deciding otherwise, invests into the typical upgrades, +3 melee Juno Glands, that's not surprising, but he is not getting any Vipers. He's going into an Ultraless Cavern. Ultras aren't that much better, guys. Just because they're 25 minerals less. I mean, they're still great for what they have always done, which is A-moving and getting us around, synergizing with the Lings. But I don't know, going for them over a Viper or 2. Big ol' Concave coming in once again for Wayne. This time there's 4 Colossus and a War Prism. It's going to be able to pick up 2 out of 3, I guess, that are left over. The 3rd one hardly helping. Most of the frontline buff are also gone. But once again, might be good enough. 4th base now is the main concern, as it is getting lower, lower, and lower. The Roaches, the last Roaches. Is it going to get the last shot? Is it going to go down? Oh my god, the Nexus is saved. Lordy baby Jesus. The Nexus is saved. MaxPax is on 4 bases, having done counter damage as well. Zealots and Archon ran across the map. What the hell are you doing here? Decides to recall the Archon, but it might be too late. Too bad for that. But 19 drones make up for some of the losses that MaxPax sustained on his minerals. He did lose, I think, 15 probes of his own. His supply is still pretty much in the gutter. It's not a good feeling here, as Wayne still has all of this potential. He's got all the bases. He's got the ability to replace his drones much quicker than his opponent as a Zerg player, He's got the Viper ability, and he's finally making one. And, well, now the problem, I guess, is really just dealing with the run-bys. But, MaxPax, he had his army on the high ground, and not suspecting Wayne would jump on top of it. Looks like he immediately lost one of those Colossus. And then the rest of it, too. Or almost all of the rest of it, but Wayne is really struggling, man. He's lost 11 more drones, so he's had to replace the things that he was going to replace. He's had to keep at home more often than he would like. This War Prism, as usual for MaxPax, is a godsend. 2 more drafts are on the way. Chitinous plating only just now starting because of all the hubbub. If the run-bys didn't happen for MaxPax, Wayne has already won this game. Of that, I am pretty certain. He would have been able to focus entirely on his attacks, followed up with a faster follow-up and a Viper again. Viper. And he probably would have had chitinous plating finishing, so his third attack would have been with ultras. And more of them, because his economy wouldn't have been ruined. But instead, these zealots doing wonders. The MVPs, especially these 3 ones, man. No, don't kill them. They deserve to live. I just never abduct. I am now particularly vile against Vipers, I think. I think that's just so BS that they have 50 less energy drain. Dude. Remember that 1 out of 1,000 times someone killed their own hatchery? Anyway, Storm's halfway done. MaxPax finally finding enough minerals and gas to get that started, because it's a tremendous boon. There's nothing that directly counters Storm here. So, absolutely, get it if you can. He should have 3 Colossus. I think he split them up a little bit. More Zealots heading over to the left side, and the Warp Prism did eventually die. Or did it? It did not. Got recalled back home. Too useful on the defense. I really like that. I really like that. It would have been all too easy just to let it go. A couple of storms to enter into this engagement, and Wayne, I think, for a second wasn't necessarily paying attention. Lots of blood on the ground after those. And the High Templars, I believe, lived. These 2 Archons being formed now. 1 High Templar still in the pocket for that feedback. Otherwise, storms are completely gone. But now 5 additional Archons in this army. That's pretty good. 6, in fact. 5th base is on the way. That will be easily canceled, but easily kind of for both sides. MaxPax hadn't invested much time into that. MaxPax still not over the 150 hump. There he is! Finally over it, but that's still not a great place to be. Overall, 30-ish, 40-ish army supply down. Upgrades are pretty good for both parties, however. 3-1 for Wayne, 3-2 for MaxPax, who might want to start upgrading his shields when he feels comfortable. Not right now. He is about to be hit by a whole Zerg army. 2 Ultras leading the charge. Viper's going to get sniped. That was a pretty audacious blink, though, from the Stalkers, and the Blinding Cloud went down regardless. Now the Archons buffering for the Colossus. The Banelings have expended themselves, but the rest of the Zerg army has encroached on MaxPax's space. Natural is going to be saved from being overrun, but the 3rd Nexus, once again, the goner here, the victim of the push, and MaxPax is just standing on very, very weak legs. That just wasn't really the best possible engagement that MaxPax could have had. I mean, he was down in supply. The Viper was going to be impactful, unless he could have gotten the snipe faster. But yeah, it would have been impactful. He was going to have a tough time, but I think that could have gotten even better. I actually think retreating and hoping for feedback over taking that blink forward might have been the better call, but very hard to say, especially in the heat of the moment. Immortals coming through to help out against the Ultras, but already 1 going down. Second one I think is around, but not anywhere I can see. And the High Templars do not have the juice by the looks of things. Shield by the Overcharge trying to save the day, but it's like 4 Stalkers and 3 Colossus. The High Templars expend their storms really to no avail. Doesn't really do enough. And MaxPax, I believe, will finally have to tap out of this game. 4th Nexus will fall, finally! That has been a long time coming. Wayne is dealing with, once again, a Zealot run-by, but it looks like he'll handle this better than any time before, and MaxPax is going to tap out. 17.5 minutes in. He tried his best to recover, but Wayne had it done. The top left of Golden Aura, it is Psystorm's MaxPax. On the bottom right, we do have Wayne from... I don't remember the acronym. From IDK. Who knows? Starlight Twinkle. That's right. They always get me. Because it doesn't... What the acronym doesn't make any sense. What is it? How does it... How is that Starlight Twinkle? No, that's not Starlight Twinkle. It is Starlight Twinkle. Oh my god, the acronym is so... Often shortened to SLT. That's fine. SLT by itself is fine. I guess they added the I's because maybe SLT was already taken. That helps my confusion a little bit. Anyway. MaxPax wasn't able to hold on to the first big attack from Wayne, and that was really his downfall, even though he tried really hard to bring it back and was very close. I think after the Zealot run by, if he had taken the best engagement possible, which is almost never done in StarCraft, really, he probably was on a road to recovery, but any mistake, minor or major, would probably have been too much for him to overcome. And his mistake was maybe in the middle of minor and major. It wasn't the most perfect thing he could have done, engaging that Viper engagement the way that he did. So, can't ask for much more from that point on, I suppose, from the time in which he had already taken too much damage. That would absolutely be a game in which you identify at what point you messed up the worst, the first, you know, and then you'd fix that. And you could argue that MaxPax's first mistake was his aggression with his Blink Stalkers that weren't Blink. Had he been a little more cautious, a little more apprehensive of Wayne's ability to, one, make more lings than some other Zergs earlier on, but then two, to dive after you when some other Zergs would have played more cautiously, plus the general just idea like they could be preparing for this, he might have been able to have Blink, and then that would have been a much more back and forth situation and more akin to the first game, in which those Stalkers back and forth, and then even really put a wrench in Wayne's plan. Instead, Wayne was able to nip it in the bud and then get to his ideal situation, a higher drone count, 4 bases, kind of his foundation was set up, and then he could focus entirely on an attack, which he could have opted to wait for more Banelings and more Ravagers, in which case MaxPax would have had 2 Colossus, and that would have been huge, but he didn't, and that's a good thing for Wayne. That's what made him win that game. So MaxPax, I would say, is just more cautious with the Blink Stalkers, and everything from there goes better. There's always something that Wayne could do to change things up. I mean, the game he won was off of the +1 melee Ling Baneling Roach Ravager, so I think he'd do that again, personally. And I don't think there's many other options as well. Wayne might be the type of Zerg player to bust out 30+ Lings, try and get a kill or cancel on a 3rd Nexus. That would be the only thing I'd be really worried about. But any other type of early-ish dedicated aggression from a Zerg player, it just doesn't really happen. That's been one of their weaknesses, and it's kind of been nerfed even. I actually don't know where the Cyclone sits as far as defending Zerg early all-ins. Roach, pure Roach ones? Yeah, no, I think they're fine, but the Speedling Roach Ravager one, I'm not sure. If you're building nothing but Cyclones, that probably doesn't do... Anyway, regardless. It doesn't... Yeah. They're probably not the best, and I don't think they've gotten better because of the patch. That's the best way to put it. So the deadliest thing you have going here is the surprise Ling count. So that's exactly what Wayne kind of did here. Kind of. It was more of an attempt to run by, which almost worked. Otherwise, 3 Adepts and 2 Oracles were more than enough to defend that many Lings. No problem. They were hoping either catch the natural wide open or to catch the MaxPax's Adepts out of position. And his Oracles harassing, not defending. But this could be a little bit of a consequence of last game. I mean, if you can instill the fear into your opponent's heart that you could be aggressive, and they do play more defensive, they err on the side of caution, then as a Zerg player, maybe you bust out a couple more drones, maybe you get a little bit more map control, a couple more creep tumors, maybe you do pocket a couple of surprise units that they don't scout because their Oracles are defensive, or pocket a Spire or something, right? Not that we're anywhere close to that in this game. MaxPax gonna change things up, not gonna go into Blink, gonna go into Charge. Something that Wayne needs to be wary of, actually. 4 drones go down to the Oracle flyby. But Wayne needs to be careful about the potential of Charge, because while +1 melee Lings are wonderful against Stalkers, they're not so wonderful against Zealots. And MaxPax warped in Stalkers in sight of the Ling run by earlier. Not because he had a body block, but I'm pretty sure because he was faking going for Blink. This aggression out in the field also seems to be encouraging that potential fake. If he shows up with charge lots and maybe even a couple of Archons and Wayne is still producing nothing but Lings and he is going to go for a Spire, well, that could be very dangerous indeed. Spire play might seem a little awkward against someone who might actually be going for Blink, but it has, it does happen. Blink is not the best defensive tool against mutas. I mean, it's better than charge. But we know Phoenix are really the end-all be-all. So you could still play Ling, Baneling, Muta against someone who is actually going into Blink. I mean, I think Wayne's been duped. I'm pretty sure this isn't him reading the charge. Because if it was, he'd at least have a Baneling Nest. He'd at least have something to defend against the charge lots themselves. But MaxPax, I mean, if he doesn't do an attack, because he doesn't know about the Spire, then that's a bigger problem for him. If he attacks first, fantastic. If he doesn't attack, what's the opposite of fantastic? Fucktastic. MaxPax gonna go for a run by, gonna catch an Archon or two forming. This one should form and help out. Yeah, so but one Archon for pure Ling. That's like it's excellent. And he just bought a little bit more time. 8 mutas are on the way, but that's still charge that Archon. That's not, you know, you need more mutas. 9 mutas in a magic box, you know, might win, but it's gonna take him a long time. It's gonna give MaxPax a while to defend back at home. Yeah, as long as MaxPax moved out at all, I feel like it was a good position. War Prism was warded off by Queens, not mutas. He doesn't know about it, but he's probably figuring it out. Nothing but Lings. What else could he be doing? There you go. First muta reveals itself. 4th base will fall, but Wayne, actually, I think that might have been his 5th. Either way, 4th or 5th. He has another base. No, it was his 4th. He had his gases there. So a big stop on his gases, and now his 3rd base also under attack. Further stop on his gases. But Wayne is currently having larva problems. I don't know. He's not producing as much as he could. Too focused on the battle at hand. He does do a little bit of a magic box, but really not the best. You can see him last second split there to try and mitigate the damage, but this seems over. This seems like far too much damage. MaxPax at home can be building up his Phoenix count, building cannons and shield batteries comfortably on 4 bases. Going into Blinken +2. Overlord starting to get popped as well. And the mutas are once again forced to come in here to combat the Archons, of which they aren't doing a fabulous job. Transfuse is coming in to try and help, but Wayne has lost 2 bases. No, make that 3. Wait. No, he's lost 2. He did not lose his 3rd, but still, he lost 2 hatcheries. 23 drones. Muta jig is up. And Wayne's pretty dead. Wayne needs to do a lot of damage with this counterattack and really start to get the chaos in. But MaxPax, like I said, on 4 bases with static defense is already so well set up. Usually in a fast muta game like this, the struggle to get to the 3rd base is pretty real, or 4th base, sorry, is pretty real, even if you do have Blink. Just having all your units in the right position and not being overrun by the potential Ling fodder on the ground. But when you get the setup as quickly as MaxPax did, there's just no chance. Wayne acknowledges it and will tap out. GG's.